If you're looking to 10x your outbound results by reaching out to companies when they release a specific announcement relevant to your value proposition, this video is for you. And the news announcements could be anything, including mergers and acquisitions, new seed funding, openings, grand openings, etc. I'm going to show you right now what I'm talking about. So this here's an overview of what I was talking about. So first we want to make sure we know what news is relevant for your company. Then we want to create something called an RSS feed, which means every single day, new companies that just released this specific news announcement that's relevant for your value proposition for your business, you will get that into your system, and then we can reach out to these people in real time via email. You can call them, you can do LinkedIn outreach, whatever you want to do. Some people even do mailers. And then you want to make sure that they match your ICP. So we don't want to just do this randomly. We want to make sure they match your ICP. Things like, the industry, job title of the person you want to reach out to, the company revenue, company size, their location. Maybe you only want to talk to people in the US or the UK or whatever that is, and also tech stack that may be relevant. Any one of those or all of those we can use for our matching your ideal customer profile. If there's a great news announcement that don't match your ideal customer profile, the workflow does not continue. So from there, what we want is once we know, okay, they released this news announcement, which I'll show you some examples in a minute, and this is going to really be, you have to really think about what's relevant for your business, but I'll show you some examples of what's working really well for our clients. But once we get that information, then we can get their email, we can get their LinkedIn profile, and we can even get their phone number. Then once we get all that data, we want to route that to a salesperson, your sales team, an SDR, etc. And then you want to do company and person research to really dial in on who this person is and what the company's all about. And then we can send a personalized and relevant email to them. We can use AI for some of that so that each email is different and it's relevant for that specific person. Or we can just use make.com, put it to your Gmail account, and it automatically goes out from there. It really depends on the volume. If you're getting a lot of volume, you definitely want to use something like Smartly, which is what we do. But if you're not having a lot of volume, you can still use Gmail, or you can even just have your SDR do this with all the data that we send to you. You can also call them, you can reach out to them on LinkedIn, and of course your team will get a Slack notification as soon as that happens. Then the really cool thing about that is once the lead books a call, then you get a Slack notification, there's reminders that go out, etc. We want to make sure that show rate's over 90%. But then you're going to get suggested talking points based on AI that we create that happens within seconds of them booking a call. And that data will go to your Slack channel and or your CRM. And this is really the cool part about this because it's not just like, where they live, what their job is, what their experience is. It's also about if they're posting content, for example, on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that you're capturing the essence of who they are as a person, what their interests are, what they like, what they don't like, what they believe in, etc. And that's really important. And that's self-sent to you via Slack or CRM. So let's dive in. So these are some examples of what this looks like. So for example, we did startup raise seed, and we did the last 24 hours. And you can see here all the data coming in. Disability Tech Accelerator, they got 3.5 million seed raise. German company got 6.4 million euros. This company got whatever they got. This is more of an article. This company got 2 million in pre-seed round. UK, these guys got 22 million in seed. So you can really see, and if you look at the time here, this is 7 hours ago, 49 minutes ago, 9 hours ago. Imagine now those people get an email within minutes or within hours of them releasing this news announcement of something that is relevant to what you do, that you can help them, whatever that is, if that relates to your value proposition. And again, each news, I'm going to show you other examples in a minute, but the news is based on what your company does. So for example, another one might be, if there's any mergers, there's an acquisition. So, there's a merger here. This is 1 hour ago. This is 1 hour ago. This is 2 hours ago. Or maybe another one is, we're just using Google News for this. And you can see all these acquisitions 6 hours ago, 1 hour ago, 7 hours ago. Again, so you can reach those people pretty much as that gets released, those news announcements get released. And remember, we're filtering for your ideal customer profile. We're not going to talk to anybody at the company. We want to make sure it's relevant for you. Let's say, for example, you help with hotels. Maybe you have hotel equipment or furniture or whatever that is. You want to know all the hotels that are mentioning a grand opening coming soon or opening happening soon. Same thing with a restaurant. If you sell kitchen equipment, you want to know when there's a new release, when there's a news announcement, because all these companies do that because they're promoting their business. Or maybe EV laws, so maybe specific laws that are relevant for your business. Or maybe it could be a GDPR, maybe anything. It doesn't really matter what it is. As long as it's going to be released publicly, then we can get that information. And then from there, we create an RSS feed, which every minute of every day, all these news announcements are coming into our system, and we can email these people within minutes of the news announcement happening, which is obviously great because they're your first in. And we get this content from the news article, And then from that, we use an AI agent to actually get the URL of the company that got funded. And then from there, we can find the people that work at that company. Again, we can match this for your ideal customer profile. Maybe it's the chief, engineering officer. Maybe it's, I don't know, sales department, VP of sales. It doesn't matter. Whatever that title is, we can get that information. And then we can filter based also on the job count. So maybe you don't want small companies, you want bigger companies. We can do all that and make sure it matches your ideal customer profile. We also have their personal LinkedIn profiles, as you can see here. And here's another example with hotels, or this is restaurants. So for example, any opening of a restaurant, we get that information, we get their phone numbers, and you can email them, you can call them. Again, we can find the owner and all that stuff that I talked to you about earlier. Then once we have the company website, the company LinkedIn profile, their personal LinkedIn profile, and the person we want to talk to that matches your ideal customer profile, whoever that job title is, and whatever size of the company, etc. Then and only then do we run an email waterfall to get the email address that is validated if you want to do email outreach. Again, you can call them, you can do email outreach. The email outreach we do is automated. If it's not a big audience, you can use make.com and send the emails from your Gmail account. If it's a large audience, thousands of people, you probably want to use something like Smartly, which is what we do for our business. So then we validate the emails, we send them an email. This is all done in real time. Imagine now those people, your ideal customer, they release a news announcement, and within a few minutes they're getting an email from you telling about how you can help them with whatever your value proposition is for your company. And the emails are written in a way that gets a very high positive reply rate because we're using AI talking about the funding that they just received or whatever that news announcement is. And we're also talking about our company, what we do, the value proposition as it relates to that specific person's job title. And that's why we're booking so many calls per day, is because of those reasons. Okay. And also spam filters love us because we're not blasting the same email to thousands of people every day. Each email is unique and different, and that's why we don't end up in the good old spam, the spam folder. Okay, once that's all done, now the lead, they got their email, and then there's a positive reply. Let's say there's a positive reply. Then we set up a Slack notification that your team will get a positive reply, so that way they're not staring at the computer. Once they get a positive reply, they get a Slack notification on their phone or some kind of notification so they know to respond to that person right away to get them on a call. Then once the call happens, then we create this professional dossier, which means we have all the information about this specific person. This is just an example, by the way. Obviously, the basic stuff that your team is probably doing, your sales reps are probably, their name, their location, their LinkedIn profile summary, all that stuff, career highlights. But the really cool thing is if they're posting content on LinkedIn, we can get a feel of who they are as a person, which can really help with your close rate on your sales calls. So for example, again, this is just an example, but like what's his tone? He's energetic, he's forward-looking. It just gives you a really good idea about who this person is. So you can use that information, which I'll show you in a minute how we do that. We can talk about his personal character. He creates campaigns like Thankful Thursdays. It kind of gives you an idea of who this person is, right? You're not dealing with a jerk, for example. This guy seems like a really nice guy. He doesn't dive into political or social positions, so he's very neutral. Again, you can use all this for your sales calls. And then we call this part insights. So for example, me, go-to-market engineering and technical, that's what we do. But whatever your business is, you can use this and you can say, how does the feel of his post that he's posted or the things that he's liked or comment on different posts on LinkedIn, does he kind of agree with what we do? Or is he completely against it? Or is he trying to figure this out on his own and he just can't? Like you can use all that information on your sales calls. Individual post highlights, we put links there if necessary. And then from all that, we get these recommended conversation approaches. So in this case, for this guy, ask how he sees AI-driven SEO evolving over the next 12 months. Explore his community-first mindset. Again, all pulled using AI. So not only is this research quickly sent to your team within minutes, but it's most likely better than the research your team is currently doing. So a lot of companies, what they do is they'll have a sales team and they'll start, some of the people on their sales team, they're not really great closers or they're okay. They'll find them another job within the company or find them another job elsewhere. And then all the closers that are doing really, really well on these calls, they're not wasting time doing research anymore. They're now focusing on their job, which is taking calls and closing deals. And all this stuff is sent to them automatically. So just to summarize now, any news announcement that's relevant for your business in real time, we can reach these people via email, LinkedIn, phone number that match your ideal customer profile. And then we can send you more information about who that person is. So on your sales calls, you close them. Now, some companies, not all of these steps are needed. Some of them, they're all needed. Depends on what you want to do. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you check out the next video on another AI automation workflow that could be a game changer for your business.